Brother Demetri, how you doing today?
I'm doing pretty good, King. What's good, man?
Can't complain too much. Thank you for joining me tonight.
Yes, sir. Pleasure's mine.
Got us an interesting episode tonight. I don't want to go ahead and say this right now. I don't want to waste any time, like the Minister Farrakhan said. Um, I wanted to do this show because this is becoming standard and/or brand across the dating scene, where a woman with a promiscuous sexual history they find religion and they expect their sexual history then to become obsolete. Then once a
Uh,
man has reservations about engaging in standard and above average dating practices with them, then they label him insecure. Now what really got me to do this was because I've seen across social media sites that ex porn star Jasmine Cashmere, she's now
mm,
married.
uh-huh.
She's done over 100 movies and 25 group films. But now she claims that she's accepted the Lord and has become a new
uh
person. So I want to
Okay.
ask you, brother, does a woman's sexual history matter in the dating scene?
I would have to say I'm kind of I would say I straddle the fence on it.
Hmm.
I think it kind of depends on the situation. Um, I think some situations you don't have the opportunity to find out what a person's history is. Like for instance, if a guy is dealing with a woman who's from a different place,
Hmm.
she happened to have moved here from Minnesota or something. You don't know where she's from. You don't know anything about it. All you can do is ask, if you want to know, and she can give you the answer that she'd like to give you. You have to live with. Now that's both sides of male or female. But on the other hand, I think there's kind of like that natural inquisitive nature that people have as human beings. And like for instance, if you're from here, from New Orleans, and
Right.
you move in a certain circle, you meet someone. One of the first things we ask, well, what high school did you go to? So once you find out what high school, then maybe who some of the people were. Oh, well, such and such. Yeah, you know, I used to hang with them. All right. So you happen to see that person, you ask about it. So it kind of becomes a different thing. So I think it kind of depends on the situation that you meet somebody in. Some people just don't want to know about it, but I think it is important to know. You can ask. For your health purposes, but I think it's pretty important.
Cause you, like at one point, like at what point does it get to the point where it becomes ridiculous? Cause you don't want to know. I always say this: you don't want a woman that has a nickname, right?
Yeah,
Has a
yeah,
nickname amongst men, like what I'm saying, Jawbone Ashley, or
right,
you
right,
know,
right,
you know,
right. Uh-huh.
bust
I
it,
agree.
bust
So
it
you,
open, Jane or whatever the case is.
right.
But so, and you may or may not know that, but in the city as small as New Orleans is, you're bound to find out something about a woman's sexual history,
That's
whether she
that's true. That's
whether
true.
she tells you or another guy tells you. You
Right,
know,
right,
so so in my opinion, a woman's sexual history does matter because just off the fact of certain things you have to gauge when you're about to get ready to have sex with a woman or date a woman or get serious with a woman.
right, right. Well, I
Such
think
as
I'm
yeah,
sorry.
go
Go
ahead.
ahead.
Go ahead. Because I was gonna say such as like I got this saying now is I'm like so what did your boyfriend do before me?
Uh-huh.
Okay. Did he if he worked at McDonald's? Okay, so what's the most expensive place he took you? Okay. If
Uh-huh.
it were Chili's, then I'd be like, okay. So you know
Uh-huh.
why I'm asking that? You know why I'm asking that? Because I'm not about to get ready to do above or beyond what that dude did,
Uh-huh.
even though
Okay.
I may be capable of doing that.
Okay. Okay. Now, if you don't mind me asking, why wouldn't you want to go beyond?
Because
What?
first off, she's already showing me her level, how she
Mhm.
feels about herself, her level of work.
Okay. Okay.
Uh,
Okay.
Now, me increasing that level is dependent upon how much she contributes to me moving forward in life.
Okay.
You get what I'm saying?
Okay. I
Or what
understand. I
contribution she
understand.
makes in my life.
Right. Right. Okay. I agree with that. I agree with that.
You know.
Well, now you had asked the question. You said it was another question after, is a woman's, uh, sexual background is it important? There was another question. I kind of lost track of that. Do you remember what the question was?
Um, I was just asking, did it matter? Does a woman's sexual history matter? Because just
Mhm.
I've been very fortunate. I think that's all I ask. Because
Okay.
when when you get to being serious with a woman and things of that nature, people try to label you insecure if you don't. If a woman says, "Okay, I have 25 bodies," for example,
Uh-huh.
how would you feel about that?
If a woman told me that she had 25 bodies,
Yeah.
um, I don't know. I guess I don't know how I personally I would have to sit down and think about it, but typically I don't I don't normally engage a conversation to that extent.
Hmm.
Um, I will have conversations about different things, and for the most part, I can pick up, you know, uh, I guess how a person kind of like moves, like what their mindset is.
Hmm.
So, like if we happen to see certain things, certain things happen on TV, and I see that there's an excitement that kind of comes from it, as opposed to like, damn, like this girl is out here wilding. It's like okay, well, so I can kind of go off of conversations and or things that experiences that we have. But like I've never asked. Oh, actually, I'd be lying if I said that. I think when I was in maybe like a freshman in college, I pulled that move where I might have tried to ease my way into a discussion about body count or
Hmm.
whatnot. Because I knew that, this is a particular female, a lot of guys were kind of shooting at, and there was a reputation that was being passed around. You know how guys are.
Hmm.
Sometimes they lie on themselves. They'll
Yeah.
say that they've done something in heaven. So, I was trying to wade my way through the situation. I was young. Um, but I think it is important, but I've never really engaged that conversation to that extent. I'm gonna throw a little quick story out at you, right?
Okay.
So when I was in school, I was in college, and we were in the weight room working out, and there was a conversation with some guys that I was familiar with, and the conversation was that this guy he had met this female, and like they were digging each other, and they must have dated for maybe I think at this point it may have been like 9 or 10 months. They were kicking it pretty hard at first, and then it started to get real serious, and it got to the point where, he wanted to have that conversation with her about, kind of taking it to the next level. Because at this point they were just friends, and now it's moving on to something else. So, um, so he decided to ask, well, listen, because the sexual intimacy was off the chain with him, and for whatever reason he wanted to know before he moved to the next level. Well, look, he brought up body count. And she was like, well, no, I'm not really comfortable getting into that conversation. I normally don't go there with guys, this, and that, for various reasons. And he kind of pushed the bill a little bit. And the number that he got shocked him because the number that she got, this was probably, I would say around my junior year of college. And her body count was in the 200s, the low 200s.
Oh shit.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah. So he was, he was hurt by it. But he's one of those, egotistical guys, he's used to having, the top of the line, female or whatnot. So, he tried to like suck that one up. It's like, well, all right, like for real, like you serious, that's a real number, or, because his number was closer to like 20.
Hmm.
So, in his mind, he was hurt by it. And he went to talk to his boys and try to find out like, well, what do you think? Like, how should I approach that? Now it's like that's one of those situations where you push and you ask, but you probably should have left it alone.
Hmm.
You know, some information you can come up on it, and it's like on the back end you kind of figure out how you want to deal with the situation. But just to go back to your beginning question, I do think it's important to know that for yourself.
Hmm.
Just from a maybe more so from a health perspective. But when you start asking about numbers, that's when it can kind of get you know, it can get a little funny because you never know if a person's being straight up with you or not.
Right. And that's true.
So,
Cause but shout out to her for saying 200 bodies. How do you get 200 bodies? Um, yeah, you know what? That brings me back to my previous question. You know what? The question that you asked, you know what I asked? I said,
what's
if a
that?
woman told you she had 25 bodies, how would
Oh
you go
yeah.
about handling that?
Yeah, yeah, yeah. The 20 25 bodies. It depends on, I guess, the level that we're at, and like what, I guess, like you said, like what this woman brings to the table. Because if I couldn't tell that about her off the bat,
Hmm.
I would. And she was a woman who, kind of held me down. And when I'm in bad spots, just say, for instance, I lost my job. It's like, hey, look, but I got you. Look, what you eating? You trying to eat today? What you look? I got you. Whatever the case. So I get sick or whatever. Hey, look, I cooked some such and such for you, man. I'm gonna bring it over there to you. You by yourself. Well, look, I'll come sit with you. You know, like stuff like that. Like if you making that effort to, like, to show me like you there, and you're making positive moves in your personal life, as far as, like, well, I say personal or professional life, and you really out here grinding, you're trying to do something, I might have to be inclined to kind of like move past that, because I mean everybody has a body count. Guys just really don't. They talk to other guys about it, but they won't discuss that really with a woman. So, if a guy has a body count, then he has to kind of respect how it's going down out here, because he didn't get his body count by being a nice guy, you know.
Right. Understood.
So yeah, but I mean, like I said, it depends on what you bring to the table. You said 25, it's like that's on the high end, But you know, I guess I guess it just depends on, like you mentioned earlier, what are you bringing to the table? You professional with yours, like you're handling your business. Like how do you show me how you feel about me? You know, so.
Right. So let me ask you also, so maybe because I'm biased, I'm gonna come back to that. But lately, and I've been talking to people about this. During this quarantine, I've been seeing a whole bunch of OnlyFans pages pop up,
Uh-huh.
and that's kind of like leaving evidence of your hoish ways on the internet.
Mm-hmm.
How? I mean, and then let's just say you get serious with a woman. Then just to come to find out she had like an OnlyFans page doing whatever to whomever. How do
Right.
you deal with that as you start to as they want to wind down and get serious?
Now that's one of those situations. I think it kind of depends on the person, individual person. Because on the flip
Okay.
side, you have a guy like Drake. You know, Drake Drake has a child for, I believe she was an adult entertainer, right?
Right.
Yeah.
Correct.
So you have that situation. Now he is who he is. He's a guy with status. He has money, the notoriety, the popularity. So for him, that's a notch in his belt. But then you have other people who in their mind, or their moral standing is like, nah, I'm not trying to deal with that shit. And that's a bit much. Now for me as an individual, nah, I'm a pass on that. You know.
Yeah.
Now somebody else who just, a lot of guys, they'll go ahead and dive into it, but are they really
Mhm.
diving into that because like they want something long term with that, or are they diving into it because it's fun, because she knows what she's doing, you
Mm.
know? So
Right. Right.
yeah, so you have that facet of it too.
Because sometimes it's and I don't like gray areas. I like either black or white. But
Hmm.
that right there kind of is a gray area when we talk about being sexually experienced,
Hmm.
because when you're in a relationship, and I'm going to say this because I know for a fact, because I've experienced it. When
Hmm.
you're in a relationship and your woman's not really sexually satisfying you,
Uh-huh.
then your mind starts to wonder. Then you start to fantasize. Then that could like go into like cheating and things like that. You can indulge in cheating and doing
Right.
other things and stuff like that, because you're going to thinking to yourself, you keep talking to her about it, and it doesn't seem like she's putting it up, like she's not putting effort into
Yeah.
being more sexually open or sexually
Hmm.
or doing things better in the bedroom, or she's not experienced enough.
Right.
Then you're kind of like, okay,
Uh-huh.
right,
Uh-huh.
all right.
Okay, I understand that.
You know,
I understand where you're at with it.
it kind of be a problem, but for me, I'm kind of biased on
Mhm.
the numbers end,
Yeah. Yeah.
because I feel because me, I feel like men could have a high number, but women shouldn't have that high number,
Okay.
only because like I said, once men, we could do that type of stuff and deal with it mentally. I
Uh-huh.
don't think that women could mentally deal with having sex with multiple people like that. They're going to get emotionally attached.
Okay.
How do you feel?
Now, I can agree with that to an extent, but I will say this
Hmm.
also. We have a different breed of people out here now. And,
Hmm.
I've seen plenty of women who were just as treacherous as guys,
Oh.
when it came down to that. So, um, as far as like what guys are able to deal with, like I think guys have become so callous, you know, and not careless, but callous, and
Hmm.
in their nature, like how they treat these women, and like as far as like how emotionally involved they are. So the women will, they get to the point where it's like, damn, like this dude's not emotionally in this with me at all. Like it's just about the nut for him, So eventually they start to be like, well, I might as well just get me too. I might as well just have fun. I don't need like an emotional attachment, you know. So
Hmm.
like for instance, like I met a woman like years ago. We went to school together. We cool. Never dealt with her, anything like that. But she would tell me all the stories about like these guys that she dealt with, right? She had them paying, had a guy that was paying her car note. She had a guy that was paying her rent. She hadn't paid, I don't think, rent or for a car note on her own until she was like 30, you know?
Mm.
So, and that was just because of how she was moving. Like she wasn't like, she moved just like a guy did. But she figured that she
Yeah.
could get something out of it
Yeah.
because these guys that she was engaging, like she saw that
Hmm.
they were emotionally in there. And once she got
Yeah.
them, like she played along just as much as she needed to keep them still coming back. But like
Oh
she would
yeah.
tell me like guys, like she laid up with him the first time, and this was just on a chill tip, and they were trying to like cuff her, like talking about like being old man and being her being whole man and taking care of this and taking care of that for her. So man, women could come just like the men do, man. Like
Oh, shit.
it's a different
Oh,
generation out here, especially like the younger women. Whew,
yeah.
dangerous, man.
Lem- Let me ask you this: how did she look?
She was an attractive woman. She was athletic
Yeah.
actually because she played
Let's
sports in
let,
school.
let's go from scale of 1 to 10.
1 to 10, I give her 8.
Eight.
Yeah.
Okay, got it. 8 year eight. Well, how old was she?
Well, at that time,
Yeah.
that was, hmm, let's see, I knew her. That must have been about 20 years old.
20 years
20.
old. Oh
Yeah,
shit.
yeah. She was advanced with it,
At
man.
her
She was,
at her prime.
yeah, she was advanced with it. But
Yeah.
yeah, it was, but
Cause I don't want people thinking that Lizzo could pull this type of shit off. I want y'all to understand.
man,
When I be talking my shit,
said,
when I be talking my shit,
uh,
this is what I'm talking about. Women that's athletic, that got it going on, that's young,
uh-huh.
they could do stuff like that. Women that they hit the wall,
Ah, but
y'all.
see, here's the thing. As we get older, like the game it changes. But people just have
Right.
when you're younger, you don't have a true understanding of it. Like you think you do,
Yeah.
you just have a thought
Hmm.
process of how you want to handle, how you want the situation to go. But as you get older, and
Right.
through trial and error, some things you tried it didn't work out. So now you realize, okay, well, if this doesn't work, I need to do this instead of trying to do it like that. So you kind of have a tendency to fall in line with however the game goes. Like the older you get, you understand how it goes. You don't really buck the system and keep doing it your way. You go with the way that
Yeah.
works. So I think now there's more of a
I,
finesse to it now, you know.
yeah.
So because like this woman right now, she's the same. Well, she's about a year younger than me. She would be 30, man, 36. So yeah,
36.
she'd be 36. And like I'm not saying that that's still the same situation. Like it's at the point now where we want to get married, but it's difficult now.
Right.
Yeah, it's difficult.
Now I've said this, and women gonna get mad at me. As a matter of fact, I predict that people that's listening to this broadcast, they're gonna get mad at
Uh
me.
huh.
Okay, so I said that women. I said women, you guys are like cars, and men are like houses.
Mm-hmm.
What do I mean by that?
Mm-hmm. That's
I
it.
mean houses depreciate as they get
Uh
older,
huh.
cars depreciate as they get
Uh
older.
huh.
And the reason why I say that is because women, for the most part, your value is based upon your looks and things of that nature,
Mm-hmm.
right?
Okay.
And with men, our value is based upon our finances, how we're providing or rebuilding, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
And as we get older, those things overlap each other. As we get older, then our finances get better, because we're older, we're trying to build, we're getting money, we're getting jobs and stuff like
Okay.
that, education. But with women, as they get older, they tend to
Mm-hmm.
hit that proverbial
Mm-hmm.
wall.
Okay.
So women that want to have fun in their physical prime, they expect men to accept them when the man is at his financial prime,
Mm.
and it don't go like that.
Mm. Okay.
It just
Okay.
don't go like
Okay.
that. How do you feel about
So
that?
so on one end, I've definitely seen that in plenty of situations. So I definitely agree that that's one of those dynamics of how the game goes that I was talking about. That's one of those facets that I was talking about. So you have a situation like that, but that's for that's for a certain demographic or a certain, you know, I want to say age range of people, but like the game still changes. So now we're in a situation where those roles have reversed. Like everybody's into fitness now. So you'll have women in their 40s who look like they're in their 30s. And you also have those same women who have like nice jobs, like they can take care of themselves and they really don't need a guy. And those are the toughest women to, kind of crack if you're trying to get with them because you can't approach them with that. Well, shit, I got this house, I got this Audi out here in front of this daiquiri shop. That don't mean shit to her. She got one at the house too,
Hmm.
at her
Mm,
house. So, on one end, like that was kind of like the dynamic that I saw up until I was probably around I would say around 30. And then I saw a shift. So, these women like, who, may have been at a certain place financially or professionally or whatnot, they're in a different place now. So they're at a spot where almost like they really don't need a guy, for the most part. Like if you really gonna get in here and handle your business, okay, I'll take you. Otherwise, you could just be around for this physical. Because
mm,
if you look at it, like look at a lot of different guys. Like you have professional people like myself, like like you. But how many brothers are you seeing that's really like on that professional? Now we do have a lot of brothers on the professional level, but like overall,
right.
like people don't have like black men are not, they don't have that grind, that drive, that work ethic, like they used to. That's falling off, and the women are filling in that gap now. So yeah, so it's kind
Mm,
of hard to you can't press a woman like that anymore because they're professional too. The only way a guy might, well, one area I might say a woman can kind, I mean, a guy might find his way in there is if it's a woman who's professional. She has a house, she has her vehicles, her savings is right, but she doesn't have a child, and she would love to have a child.
yeah.
Somebody, you know what I'm saying?
Mm,
Now, from that aspect, a guy might see that as like an opening and try, shoot his shot. But you're dealing with a different breed of women, like the younger ones,
mm,
mad aggressive, mad aggressive. But then you have the ones that are, more in my age range. They're, more where they're supposed to be. Well, I say my age range, maybe a little younger. They're where they're supposed to be earlier. So
right. Yeah, you just mentioned a very interesting thing. So you don't have any
no, I
kids,
don't.
correct?
No.
Do you date women with kids?
I have. I have.
You
Yeah,
have.
I have.
Okay. Okay. So you're willing to date women with
Well,
kids?
well, my situation right now, like I'm engaged, so I'm on a different level with that. Like that's pretty much out of the door for me now. Yeah,
Right.
appreciate it.
Congratulations. But
Appreciate that.
but
Yeah,
but were you willing? Is what I'm saying.
yeah. I was,
Were
I
you?
was. If I kind of sought out the situation, because with me being in the profession I'm in, I work with kids every day, so it's nothing for me to develop that relationship with them, see where they are, meet those kids where they are, and kind of like develop, I guess a relationship with them. So but the issue would come in is what's the deal with their paw? Is he just he just made him and he out here somewhere and y'all don't talk to each other at all, y'all don't see each other. Is it that type of deal, or is it like he come back every now and then because you've been looking good lately? Is he Mr. I used to whip your ass? Like who are we dealing with? So
Right. So, so I'm about to get ready to string out some questions to
uh
you,
huh.
brother. Now they now you know. So in your opinion, I mean, like they got this whole, like you said, women are way like
Mm-hmm.
aggressive now. I just got this whole thing where it's like women are more sexual
Okay.
liberated now. What is sexual liberation to you, as far as like how women try to define it? Like when you hear a woman say that she's sexually
Mm-hmm.
liberated, what goes through your mind? When you're back in your dating age, I want you to go back to your dating age.
All
I don't
right.
want you to go. I don't want to get you in trouble.
Right,
You know
right,
what I'm
right, right,
saying? Like, you
right.
know.
Well, so okay, so I mean, I pay attention to things, man. I have single friends and whatnot, and we all go out and I know how the game goes, man. We all do. Nobody's blind. We hear and we see what goes on. But I think way back when a woman would say, well, I say way back, just say 10, 12 years ago, or more, a little more than that. If a woman would say she was, just say 15 years ago, if a woman would say that she was sexually liberated, first of all, I have to look at like what type of women use that type of language. So,
Mm,
because I like if I have to really think about it, I can't really think of many women who use that language except for women who were on a different wavelength from kind of like these average walking around here type guys. Um, so I couldn't even equate it with trying to like use that as a term to mask something that they were doing. But it's just some women are
mm,
like they know what pleases them. They know what in particular they want from a sexual situation, and it could
mm.
also mean maybe they like to have a woman every now and then. Maybe like that's what they want.
Oh shit.
They don't want to be pounded out, whatever they want, whatever it is that another woman provides for another woman. Sometimes they prefer something different. So I think when a woman uses that type of terminology now, it it may be a little
Mm-hmm.
different than that because there's a whole lot of sexual intimacy taking place, whether it's just off the strength of some alcohol or whatever the case. It's a whole lot more common than it was.
Mm. So can a woman be sexually liberated and wifey material too? Because you just said they willing to sleep
hmm
with women, and if they're willing to sleep with women, then in my
hmm
opinion, they're willing to sleep with
Okay.
anybody.
Okay.
Willing to
See,
so.
that's one of those individual things because I think you and I will have our opinions about it, but then you have you
Mm,
know uh just say a Will Smith. I'm gonna throw his name out there. Um, you know,
oh shit.
so it's been talked about for years that he and his wife have an open relationship. Things are not like in the public eye. Well, bam, oh, we got them on camera. Those two together. That's not Will Smith. Who is that? It's things are done on a certain level. Whether it's you go to a swingers club
Mm,
and do whatever it is you do, it's a whole lot of that stuff that actually goes down. Like when I was driving, I used to drive
mm,
limos and like SUVs, pick up high profile people. Their CEOs would come in town and they wanted to go out on the town. I would go and drop them off at places, pick them up, bring them to the next place. And I would bring some of these people um to these swingers, clubs where the windows are blacked out. You just see one guy outside with a leather jacket smoking a cigarette, look like he about to rob something, you know. But when these folks get out of the car, it's like, the cigarette goes away, greets them. Oh, what is this? They show them a card or give them a certain handshake. Bam, they're in the door, and I'm back there for the next 2 hours, sitting on the side, waiting for these people to come out. So these are people who are married now, you know.
mm,
So I guess they have an understanding where it's like, okay, well, you enjoy certain things, I enjoy certain things. Like, listen, I'm trying to get this money, you trying to get this money. Let's go ahead and do this together. We could do our thing, So people have if you can come to that kind of understanding, that's up to you as an individual. Me
mm,
personally, I'm not sharing. That's that's
yeah,
not for me. You can
yeah,
do that, and more power
yeah.
to you. But some people they have their relationship. Like one night I was driving, picked up
Yeah.
two couples, right? It's two white couples, and they were real talkative and asking me about restaurants in the city, and I gave them a little history of the city while I was while we were en route going to the destination the restaurant, and we just had a lot of good conversation, real nice people. So I wound up dropping them off at Swingers Club. We did outside. I was outside for about 2.5 hours, right? So they came out, but when they came out,
Right.
the couples were reversed. The two that were holding hands going to the restaurant the first time,
Mm.
that wasn't the two that were holding hands when they came out of the Swingers Club, you know? So, and here it is. These are people who make millions of dollars. They can give me a $500 tip getting out of the vehicle. Hey, man, we appreciate everything you did for us. $500 tip. You can just drop that like it's nothing, But here it is. You're a
Right.
CEO of a corporation, you know? So you're Universal
Exactly.
Corporation, and this is what you do. So I think people have these understandings. It also is, kind of could be a cultural thing too, but it's like a socioeconomic thing, man. When you move in certain circles, you develop a certain understanding with people, and if y'all on the same page, and y'all can make it work, you know.
Yeah, I mean, like if I get
Yeah,
married, I ain't with it. I mean, like even if I don't get married, my girlfriend is
yeah,
my
right,
girlfriend. God damn it, I ain't into, I ain't into that
yeah,
cuffing
yeah.
shit. Whatever the fuck they got going
Ooh,
on,
that's
I,
not the wave,
I,
man. That
I
is
ain't into
not the
that.
wave.
Yeah, I am not into that shit. I will tell you right now.
Right,
Don't.
right, right.
Hey,
Well, see, that's
all
that's what
right,
goes on with. See, like if you think about it, when you were younger, if you'd have had a situation,
Mhm,
well, maybe I shouldn't ask you that, but I'll just put it out generally. So, say for instance, young man, he's 21. He's presented with the opportunity.
mhm,
He has a girlfriend or whatnot. He kind of finds out, they out and they're drinking one
mhm,
night. He kind of finds out that this woman, she just kind of dancing with a woman and they out or whatever. Nothing heavy. He gets pulled in,
mhm,
and then he sees the opportunity for it to be a threesome. Now, the majority of guys at
mm.
21 years old, if they're not scared, they would dive into that situation. Yeah.
Oh yeah, I'm
See what
in
I'm saying?
21.
So
I'm in a
if you
to be honest, I
see,
might think about it at
see,
31.
that's
But go
cool. That's cool. If
ahead.
you're a single man and that's how you want to move, then cool. But I'm just throwing it out there just to say,
Right.
it just kind of moves a little different, kind of like with age, because now whoever it is, if you're real serious about whoever it is you're with, and this type of situation presents itself, now there's a different set of questions you're asking yourself. Whereas when you were 21,
Yeah.
you're all in. So mhm.
So let me ask you, what is like you say you're
Right,
engaged, and I have I've had
right.
I've been engaged before. And let me ask you something. So what is being wifey material or somebody else's
Mm,
wife
that's
typically?
interesting. That's one of those, man. You probably had to ask a married man, but you know, but I'm gonna tell you.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Yeah, but
Yeah,
because you're
true,
engaged. So
true.
so
It's just a different level. Like those people who are in it is they see it differently. But for me, I guess one of the main things I looked at, well, I'll just start with the basics. So one, you look at where a person is, I guess, in life, professionally, what they bring to the table.
Mhm.
I think those are the basic things that a person should look at. And also, too, this is one of the most important to me because I had a conversation with an older man at church. He used to always tell me, now he died a long time ago, about 10 years ago, but this man used to always drop gems on me every time I talked to him. And one of the things he said to me is, he was like, look, you're a young man, you carry yourself well, you're a handsome guy. He was like, man, he was like, sky's the limit for you, whatever it is you want to do, you know. And he was like, you can have whatever woman you want, whatever profession you want to work in. He was like, just be the best at whatever it is that you do. But he was like, one thing I would tell you, he was like, before you ever decide to get married, he said, take a look at that woman and think this to yourself. If I get sick or if I get in a bad accident and I can't take care of myself, does this woman love me enough to take care of me, or would I be stuck? Would
Hmm.
she leave me stuck? You know? Like, do you see? And he said, look at it
Hmm.
in reverse too. If you look at this woman, he said, if something ever happened, something happened, bad happened to this woman, would you be willing to hang in there and, take care of her? Because the vows are for better or for worse. So if you
Right.
look at this person, you like, damn, like if something happened to this person, like I know what I do. Like I just go out of my way to make sure they were good, you know. But if you can't look at the person you're marrying and say that about them, and you can't look at that person and say without a doubt, like, hey, Like I know that person will look out for me. Because words are just words. You know, you can feel when somebody like when you're in that
Right.
situation, a person to really like take care of you. You know what I'm saying? Like if you can't look at that situation and see, like, yeah, if I was in a bad spot and I couldn't care for myself, I know for damn sure she got me. Or I know for damn sure I got her. Then you shouldn't even do it, man. You shouldn't do it.
Yeah. Now, so you just taught me something. You just taught me something because when I got engaged, I got
Uh-huh.
engaged for the wrong reasons. Now, now the next time I get engaged is
Right,
gonna be for the
right.
right reasons for
Of
sure.
course.
But when I got engaged, then I was like, damn man, this, I really got engaged for the wrong reasons, and I
Mm-hmm.
really got into a relationship for the wrong reasons. But
I
that I
got
won't
you.
share here today. But
I got you.
uh,
Understood. Keep down the hunt.
but yeah, it was just psychologically it didn't make sense, and neither did it, any other reason, like spiritually, financially, it didn't make any sense neither. So after all that's said and done, like
Yeah,
so yeah, I get what you're saying, dog. That's good.
yeah.
That's good advice to give somebody. But like societal standards, they place societal
Right.
standards on both sexes, right? Men, we're supposed
Uh-huh.
to work, we're supposed to provide. Women, we're supposed to provide and protect. You can't
Of
provide and,
course.
and
Of
not
course.
protect. You're supposed to do both at the
Of
same
course.
time and be a man. And women are supposed to nurture. But like you said, there's a different breed
Mm-hmm.
out here nowadays, and most women that I talk to, they
Yeah,
can't even
yeah,
cook.
yeah.
Now, now their whole excuse is, hey man, I be working, I don't feel like cooking. Tyrus, I said,
Mm-hmm.
listen, let me tell y'all something. My grandmother was blind
Right,
on a
right.
cane. I seen this woman cook a full
Uh-huh.
course meal blind. I don't want to hear about your goddamn excuses.
Damn.
I
Not at all, huh?
don't want to hear your goddamn excuses. Because the thing is, like, I work 12 hours. So I want to hear about your 8 hour
Right, right,
shift.
right. I see where you're at with it. I see where you're at. Well,
You know what I'm saying? So so why do women seem to be more reluctant to societal standards than
I
men
think because those societal standards kind of
nowadays?
it kind of puts them in it puts them in what society feels is their place. So, um,
Mm,
everybody has ideals about what they want their relationship to be and what they want from the other person. But those societal standards, I think those were things that were good. I don't want to say they were good. Let me backtrack a little bit. They worked for people during the time when it was kind of like implemented, and just like with with other things, like there's an evolution. So back during that time when those things were expected of women, women weren't working like they are now. Having the right to vote, those types of things they didn't have available to them. So I think now that women are in a place where they're working just like men are, like they're men and the women that work 12-hour shifts. So I think, yeah, once that dynamic changed and women were putting in some of the same type of work that men were doing, it's like, well, shit, cook for what? Like, now at the same time, I'm not gonna say that I personally agree with that because my mother was a grinder. My mom had, my mother she worked in the school system, and then she worked during the summer too. And then my mom took care of us because my dad, he was a letter carrier, so he worked, he was basically working almost till like 7, 8 o'clock. My dad was about that overtime. He made sure the money came in right, you know, my mom, being at home with us, my mom still came home and she cooked. But that was that mind frame, that was that understanding that they had. Now, if you notice about a person off top,
mhm.
for a person to try to make them be that type of person and like they just don't see themselves doing that, that's when you're gonna run into that problem. But if you can happen to meet a person who may be open to that, you know, um, or maybe y'all could partner off with it, then I can kind of see that. But I think society kind of like those ideals are kind of that dates back to like shit, like 17, 1600s or past. Actually, if you want to figure, you can go all the way back to hunter gatherer days. The men went out there and went and hunted and all these different things. They basically brought the stuff back to the women. The women handled it because they put themselves in harm's way. That's how they felt. So the women go ahead and take care of their cooking and rearing the kids and make the kids go, do the little gathering or whatnot. So that dates all the way back to then. So if you think of how many hundreds of years that's been an ideal, women now looking back at that, they're gonna look at that like shit. Who gonna cook? You know?
You, yeah. But brother,
Mm-hmm.
as a black man, and you know this, we put every day we step
Yeah,
out our house, we
yeah,
put out
that's
like,
real.
oh,
That's real. That's
he gonna
real.
provide,
That's real.
brother. And and like I tell people, I'm like, y'all. I mean, like I tell black women this in particular. I say, listen, you will never understand
Mm-hmm.
how it feels to be a black
Mm-hmm.
man. I said, like when we go out there in the world and we gotta fight white supremacy and come back and fight y'all, we gonna be looking at y'all like
Yeah. Yeah.
the fuck.
Right.
Like
I get
we ain't
that.
got time
I
for it.
guess that's where it come into having that understanding.
You-
You know what I'm saying? Having that understanding with that woman. Like if y'all,
Right.
y'all in that little dating phase or whatnot where y'all are getting to know each other, you'll pick up on those things that you agree with and the things that y'all, don't agree with. You kind of base your relationship based on that. It don't mean y'all have to beef about it. That's just what y'all see differently, in that. Some people like really more traditional. But I think also too, I think a lot of men look for qualities that their mother, their grandmother had in the woman that they want to be with. You know what I'm
Right.
saying? And as far as like making sure the house is good and what I'm saying, like having that warmth that a woman brings, to a family. So, I think we look for qualities of matriarchs in our family to kind of, when looking for our next relationship. But I do have to agree with you. Like a lot of women, these like in this generation, that's kind of like I guess you'll call them millennial. Like they really don't cook. I have a friend of mine. Like she by herself. Like she, every now and then she winds up meeting a guy that she, start to get heavy feelings about or whatnot. But at the end of the day, she can't cook. She called me one morning. She was like, the guy was in the room sleeping. She like, look, I need your help. I'm like, what, you stuck somewhere? Don't call me to come get you. Like, you on your ass on that one. You hit. I can't help you. She was
Right.
like, no, fool. She was like, look, I don't know how to cook eggs. Eggs? Eh? Oh, man.
Hey,
Yeah, right.
I
Man,
know
my
how to
mom
cook that
wasn't,
when I was
you know what I'm
7.
saying? So, now, granted, my mom put me on game, but she doesn't know how to do that. So she was like, look, she was like, he gonna be waking up. Like, could you like guide me through it? I was like, all right, dog. So I had to walk her through step by step. I'm like, man, look, I said, well, how big is this dude? Oh, he about 6'3". I said, all right, he got any weight on him? Yeah, he solid dude. I said, all right. That man about 2 or 3 eggs. Take him out. Put your fire on. You know what I'm saying, on low. So I
Yeah.
had to guide her through that process. Then I had to guide her through on how to cook the pork chop, how much seasoning to put on. So it's crazy though. Like she never like that initiative.
My God.
It's just not in her to do that. She's a worker, but not not to where she should know how to cook something basic like that. So you have situations like that that's kind of kind of interesting, when you come across it. But
You know what else you just said? That got to me. You said we both had like we got
mm,
like moms and dads in the house. Now we both
right,
not only had
right,
matriarchs, we had patriarchs too. So so my patriarch, my thing is this. You know, in most of my relationships, and I look back on them,
mm-hmm,
with the exception of two women, and both of them just so happen to have a father in the home, with the exception of two women in my whole dating history. I look back and I say to myself, I say, you know what? For the most part, I can finish
mm,
raising my girlfriends.
mm. That's interesting.
Just for the most part, I have to finish, raising them, and I have to was like, no, you don't do that. You do this.
Uh
No, you don't. No, you don't do that. You do this. Oh, it's just like me, like me just getting out and paying for gas and pumping the gas in the car. They were excited about that. I'm like, what, look,
huh. They didn't
this is
understand it, right?
normal.
Okay.
You know what I'm saying? Yeah, and I'm telling you, like for one, my girlfriend said
Yeah.
I changed the tire in the rain, my brother, and I'm going. She was very impressed by it. And I'm going,
Well,
okay, but they all
yeah.
had bad relationships with their father, and I guess the men before me was just like
Yeah.
whatever. They didn't really care for him
Yeah.
like that. I'm going,
It's always
okay,
gonna be
all right,
different, man.
all
I
right,
had um I had a relationship like years ago where this is yeah, it was years ago. The woman, she didn't have she didn't have a good relationship with her father, and her situation with her mother wasn't the best either. Her mother was in the house, but for the most part, mom put them outside like, hey, y'all go play, and they was all around the neighborhood, not doing whatever it is they did as kids or whatnot. But as having all girls like that, that's a dangerous situation. So kind of consequently, when you've been kind of fending for yourself, if you're not like I don't want to say if you're not like a real strong minded individual where you have like the street smarts and you have some type of book intelligence, it's going to be pretty difficult for you to kind of survive out here. And there's a lot of things that you won't be introduced to like we were, So I think that's a part of that learning process. Like, like it's like you learn things from her and she'll learn things from you, and that's kind of like what makes that relationship better too, But you and I having, parents in the household, matriarch and patriarchs in the household like that, that helped to build us into the people that we are. But when people are missing that, you're gonna see things missing in their lives too, in the way that they move and go about doing things. So,
Mm, mm. Boy. So, I
mm,
asked this question on my last podcast to my last guest, and I was like, "How would you describe the dating scene in New Orleans?"
yeah.
I know you've been kind of out of it for a minute, but how would you describe it right now?
Mm.
I mean,
Well,
at this
I
point in
think
time.
before you describe the dating scene, I think you have to identify what age range you're talking about because it's different per age range. So what age range would you be talking about?
Yeah. Now, see me. Now, I'm
Uh
pretty
huh.
sure some women gonna get mad at
Oh,
me
you get
about
some
this
heat, huh?
too. Okay. Boy, do I? I be, yeah, I mean, cause
Uh
just
huh.
cause I think I
Yeah.
hit a nerve every now and then. But but the most part, I'm looking at younger women because I'm going, okay, I don't want because I
Okay.
feel like women my age they come
Okay.
with a lot of baggage. So so if I'm
Okay.
going from 21 to 29,
All right. That's reasonable.
then that's gonna be the
So you
cutoff
said
point.
20. Right.
Now there's some exceptions to that rule. Now some women that I've dated probably listen to this podcast and be like, no, I wasn't no 29. All right,
Mm-hmm.
cool, you was exception to the rule, but
Okay.
for the
So
most part,
so
21 to
21 to
29.
29. Now
Go ahead.
I'm talking about the dating scene today from 21 to 29. Because yeah, keep in mind, like when me being a teacher, like kids that I've taught are 21 right now. You know what I'm saying? And then, I've worked with people who were,
Mm-hmm.
in the rest of that age range. And, so basically that 21 to 29 age range, I would say on the lower end, at 21 to I say about 25. What I notice is a lot of things are
Mm-hmm.
superficial. So for the most part, it's going to be a lot of the superficial stuff. You know, if it's a guy that's maybe he look like he has some money or he can dress. If he carries himself a certain way, if he like on social media, if he portrays himself to be a certain way, that's what they fall for, you know. So like if he got the jeans with the holes in them, he got the the hair that's cut a certain way, half dyed, or whatever the style is. Yeah, you got the drip. You know,
The
they
drip.
take a look at that and it's like, well, damn, this nigga fly. Like I'm gonna go ahead and I'm gonna see what's good with him. So I think a lot of things go off aesthetics and like what they see about this person. They got the little Louis Vuitton pouch that's hanging off, so they see certain things and it attracts them. They have a certain kind of car. You got a Camaro, or you got a Challenger. So, you see certain things and I think they're attracted to that. And like, those between those features and like what they have, they go off of that first because they're really not as social as we are. Like how you and I are sitting
Mm-hmm.
here having, we're on this podcast. That social aspect, they don't have as much of that as we had.
Mm-hmm.
We grew up talking on the phone like, all the time. When they talk, it's the conversation is only going to be probably 2% of like real substance. The rest of it is like, some stuff that it doesn't have a whole lot of purpose. But I would basically say a lot of it's based on what they see about a person, that initial thing. And, like right now, like they hot. They know they look good. The guys, they see these women and they know what they look like. And, they have their intentions. So, for both of them, it's a sexual thing because they're both physically attracted to something about the other one. So I think it starts off there, and then when it starts to near toward that latter stage, for those who maybe found their way into like a professional, I guess to build themselves up professionally, or they finish school and they're on that path to you know higher levels of professionalism or whatnot, socially, that's when it becomes more less about uh maybe what you have and like what more of a little bit more of what kind of person you are, because they're a different dynamic than us. So I think a lot of things, the beginning
Mm,
part is based on what they see, the aesthetics about a person, and then toward that back end, that's when they start to kind of settle down a little bit and kind of look a little deeper at the person. Like, well, who is this person for real? Like, what are they doing? Like, where does he work at? Oh, okay. you know so I think, but social media runs that whole age range that you mentioned. Social media. So if you could portray yourself like you got it
yeah,
and you the one, then yeah, you're gonna be hot, man. You're gonna be hot.
that's what.
Yeah,
Instead of
right, man.
instead of actually having it. So like so
Hmm.
like like dating apps like Tinder and stuff like that. And people, I think sometimes people get a big misconstrusion about these dating apps. Most of these dating apps, they're not
Right,
apps to
right.
date, they're apps to have
I agree with
sex.
that.
You know, and don't and that goes for Christian
Ooh,
Mingle too, y'all. I think
oh
people get
man,
their ass broke off
oh
on
man,
Christian Mingle too. That, you know something? You know something,
man.
brother? Do you know
First of
something?
all, I ain't never been on no Christian mingle.
It's,
That's number one. But I would hope that that's a place where wholesome people can meet other wholesome people, man. We need more of that out here.
you got
Oh man, come
you got it
on,
right. Whole, some
shit.
people.
Oh
I got
man, they
whole
could do that without having
some
to pay
people.
for it, man. They don't have to go that route, man.
Yeah, but the thing is though, man,
Mm,
like the society we are in now, it's like it's totally different. Like you said, man,
yeah,
it's
oh
like
yeah,
night and day from us growing up. Like I could just go up to a woman in the club or anywhere, any social setting, and just pick up on them and just
mm-hmm.
like ask for their number if I like them. And but most of these dudes like they have problems with that because they're so used to typing and texting and doing
Yeah,
stuff over
man,
apps.
yeah. You're right.
It's a different
Everything
world
is done minus
nowadays.
that contact.
And
Hmm.
most females are they get shocked and it becomes a I guess like a something out the norm for them. It becomes weird for them when a dude just
Yeah,
comes up and like, hey, I like you. What's up? And it's like they don't know
yeah.
what to do. It's like they
Well,
deer in headlights after that. Like
yeah, I guess
they get all
also too,
nervous
you
and
look at
shy.
what they've been exposed to up to this point. Because if you think about it, like the dynamic, it never changes. From
Right.
the time that we were in high school, the females that you were interested in, they always were dealing with somebody older than you. Always. You know what I'm saying? Whether it was a senior or whatever it is, the dude
Right.
got the car, light skinned dude with the baby hair, whatever you want to call it. You know. So it's always been like that. So now,
Hmm.
they've been out there and dealt with like, the people who were hot and the people who were popping. So they don't really know how to come back down and like deal with a guy who like
Hmm.
who been really just that cool dude all along. That guy who been consistent and like always, he's been himself,
Yeah.
confident in himself, not putting on the front like he's somebody that he's not, you know. So when these other guys, then, they wherever it is they are in life and they're done with that and they passed that, it's like, well, damn, how do I go about dealing with some of these other. So like they're gonna come off as like maybe a little square or lame, whatever the case, because they're used to a certain
Hmm.
type of person, you know. So
Yeah. Because one meme that I get a kick out of is
uh,
they say is your high school crush still fine? And
oh man.
and and
uh,
and you know what the answer to that is most of the time,
uh, hell no, huh?
99.8% of the time, hell no.
Man.
Most of the time, yeah, hell no. So So the woman that you want now isn't always gonna be the one that you
Right.
desire
Right.
a couple of years from now, and even I would even go, I can't even say that.
Yeah, it is.
College is
It
totally
is.
different. College, I would say, is totally different. M- Yeah, most of the time, if a woman's maintaining herself through college, she maintain
Uh huh.
herself above
Yeah.
and through
Yeah.
and beyond,
I agree.
you know. But but
Yeah,
you
we got.
and let's talk about
Mm-hmm.
this. So I want to talk about this before we leave. We're gonna leave in a couple of minutes. Um,
Mm.
Fitness in New
Fitness
Orleans,
in New Orleans.
brother,
Oh man.
brother, brother. Um, brother, we
Oh yeah.
have
Yeah.
we have an obesity
That's
problem in
true.
New Orleans.
Mm-hmm.
Now, I'm not knocking you if this is your
Mm-hmm.
thing, but as far as just having standards, and
Mm-hmm.
people really get mad at men for having standards. If you say I don't want a fat woman, they go, "Oh, you fat shaming." No, because if you said you didn't want a
Uh.
broke man, I wouldn't say that you
Okay. All
finance
right.
shaming, right?
All right. That matches up.
So, so you know what? Yeah. So what is it about women that feel like it's okay, like you got to
Mm-hmm.
accept them for who they are as far as like their weight and everything. What is it about that? And I
Yeah,
can't
I know you.
I
I
can't speak for other
understand. Yeah,
places.
don't
Like
step into that hole.
I really don't want to
Yeah,
get into that
it's
because
not the way to
I don't
go.
want to get into that. But yeah, but
Uh,
yeah, but particularly in New Orleans, what is it about that has women like, oh, you got to accept me for who I am,
well,
and
I think
that's
I
just
think
gonna
a
be
lot of
it.
women had just they have a confidence about themselves. Like we kind of in a time where like a lot of people are they big up in like just melanated people. Period. There are a lot of people who are getting on like they're starting to recognize like
Hmm.
maybe the path that they were moving in like in regards to certain aesthetics with people like maybe they shouldn't focus on that. Let's just focus on uplift. But I think in New Orleans in particular, I mean we have festivals like you know like year round. We put seasoning on everything, crawfish balls,
Hmm.
high blood pressure, you name it. But I think down here, like it's kind of been like that for a long time. But I think first of all, you got to keep this in mind too. If a woman has never worked out from the time she was, in high school, she never played in sports or anything like that, up until she, you know, just say it was around 20, 25, 25, 30, or whatever the case is. And then, then the weight started to come on. I think a lot of women are comfortable with who they are, and guys are going to deal with them anyway. So so on one hand, they may look at it like, well, shit, you don't want me because
Mm.
I got weight on me. He does. He ain't had no problem with it. Mm-hmm.
Oh,
Mm-hmm.
so let me ask you this. Let me ask you this then. Let me ask you this then.
Okay.
Let me ask you this because this is a big misconstruction. I want to ask you this. So, do women have a lot of sexual options or a lot
Ah,
of dating
I
options?
had to go with the sexual options, man. 'Cause dudes don't have their head on right for real. Like they'll say they know
Mm.
what they want, but like real talk, they're not really there
Mm.
yet. But like being straight up and telling a woman like you kind of that you digging it, but like you're not sure if you want do the relationship thing. And like you kind of like to you know kind of like get to know her more. Whatever the case, however you want to lay it out.
Mm.
It's but I think it's I would say it's a lot of sexual options because a lot of dudes don't they're not where they need to be. Some of these dudes they don't even have real jobs. No knock. Everybody
Mm.
had a hustle. But shit, what happened? What
Yeah,
happened when stuff dry up? What you got?
yeah,
What's your fallback plan? So
yeah. Because
uh,
because now they learning. Now they learning because if they men really had real
oh man,
jobs, then wouldn't be all these OnlyFans pages popping up all over the place.
uh
I, I
uh
got to get crucial with it. I got to say how it is. Listen, because like I said, women are saying, "Hey, I got a man and all the rest of this stuff," but when this
right,
quarantine
right,
hit, your man ain't volunteer for you to stay with him. or your man didn't
Right.
volunteer to, help
OnlyFans.
you out. Now you starting OnlyFans
Oh man,
pages.
not them. Not them. I'm tired of seeing that. Now look, I want to ask you a question.
you know,
So what's
yeah,
what's your thought process
yeah.
on like I guess what would be
What's that?
considered like a plus size woman or thick women in New Orleans? Like what's what's your
For, for me, for me, I don't even deal with it. I mean, because I don't even I don't. That's you know
okay.
what I'm just gonna say. I
Okay.
don't deal with fat women. I just don't. Plus size women.
Right.
Um, for
Mm-hmm.
me, I work out and
Mm-hmm.
I eat healthy, so I maintain myself physically. And I really want a woman to do the same. And for the most part, I haven't been successful in that part. The most time that women try to come to the gym with me is because
Mm-hmm.
they want to see what I'm doing or what's going on. They're not really there to
Yeah.
engage in the physical practices of working out and pushing themselves to the limit. With
Mm-hmm.
with the exception of the last woman I was dealing with,
Mm-hmm.
um, she was already physically gifted, but she didn't realize. But what she didn't realize is what she doesn't realize is like you can't keep doing the same things over and over and not having any type of physical consequences. Like I said, like not really taking
Right.
care of yourself, not really, eating the right things and stuff like that. Like you naturally gifted,
Mm-hmm.
like you got a flat stomach, nice shape, big butt, and all the rest of this, everything, the whole nine. But
Right. Right.
eventually, that's going to crash if you don't take care of it.
Uh
It's like a car. It's like a car. Like I compared women to cars earlier. If you don't get the oil changed,
mm-hmm.
if you don't get the
Okay.
check on the motor, take care of it,
All
eventually it's
right.
gonna break down on you.
Now now let me say
It's
this
gonna be
too.
beyond
Now
repair.
you do realize in New Orleans,
But
like
yeah,
thick is fine.
what's that?
It's always like yeah, that's really always it's always been like that. Cause
Yeah.
like guys from other places come down here and they see women, it's like they
Yeah.
lose their mind. Like man, we don't have nothing like this where I'm from. Like we got them that be a little, they describe how the woman's shape or whatever. But like women down here are thicker. Like we have women down here who consider fat, but like when you look at the shape, like they're
Well,
shapely women. Now who knows what the reason? Mhm.
yeah. Wait. Hold on. Wait. I gotta, I gotta check on something right quick because I've been repping women out of town because I went to California. I've been all over the place recently, New York and all the rest of these places, and I made a statement and I said if women come to New Orleans the way they shaped and the way they
Mm,
get down, it'll be over. Like the dating scene will be over. But
yeah.
you're saying that guys come here and say that our women are fine. So when we say thick, are we talking Meg the Stallion thick? Or are we
So you
talking the
have
Lizzo
you
thick? Because
have
we got
all
both.
that in
What are
between.
we talking about?
Okay, you got yeah, you got all that in between, bro. Cause see
Hey, my
what
brother.
okay, so
Go
what you're
ahead.
referring to is like women who like first of all, people outside of the South don't eat like we do. So all of that like sodium and all that kind of stuff, like that's not really
Mhm.
like heavy for them. So that's why when like their eating habits are they're just naturally different. And we're not even gonna get
Right.
into like the cultural things, like if she's Hispanic or part Hispanic
Hmm.
or Creole, whatever the case is. You know, we just focus on just what the eating habits are of a particular place.
Yeah.
So if this woman is from like Cali or whatever it is, it's gonna be a different type, shape, all of that different kind of stuff. But here, the eating habits are different. It's been like that for a few hundred years.
Hmm.
You know, so when I say we have like everybody from the first one that you name all the way to the bottom, but you have women down here who, maybe when they were in high school, they were probably, I
Hmm.
guess at what you would consider the pinnacle of how their, what their physique is. Um, and then, they had some kids, put on a little weight or whatnot, but the basic shape is still there. They just carrying more weight. But then, so that's what I'm saying. You really have it all. And then just say, for instance, this woman gets to the point where it's like, you know what? Let me go ahead and go to Mac Fitness. You know what I'm saying? And they go ahead and knock this weight off. Not that you're all over them, but that's the same one. She just dropped a little bit. But I think it comes down to a matter of preference, what a person,
Yeah.
actually prefers. So
Yeah. But Yeah. Because I'm gonna tell you,
Come
a
on,
two
man.
liter look way different than a 20 ounce.
Oh, oh man.
It's the same
Yeah.
drink. It's the same drink.
Hey, it's a
But
preference, man.
do you
It's
really
a
want to
preference.
drink
See,
all that
like
two
you a
liter,
fitness
or do you
buff.
just want that
Like
twenty
I've
ounce?
seen the way that you be in there throwing on that weight machine, man.
Yeah,
I see what you squat.
yeah,
Like it's ridiculous amounts of weight. So, now you're a guy, and you run. So, you're a fitness person. So for you, there's a certain type of woman that you're looking for based on the lifestyle that you carry. So for other people who have a certain type of lifestyle, like for instance, if I'm,
right.
well not I, but if a person they like to go to festivals all the time, eat, 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 who are you to look for a woman that's athletically built, and you eating too? She won't eat. You know what I'm saying? So I
Yeah,
think it's just a matter of preference. You know what I'm saying? I respect that. Everybody has, what they like. You have what you like. You prefer more of an athletic, or fit woman. Some guys, it's just kind of like, hey, whatever. Some people actually go off for like who make them feel a certain way. So you know, different people have different needs.
mm,
It actually kind of made me think about something I said when I was a kid, and I hate to admit it, but
yeah,
we being real on here. So there was this girl I went to elementary school with. Her attitude was nasty, man.
hmm,
Just nasty, like just say like wild stuff to people. And I remember, and she wasn't like a good looking female to me. So I remember telling my dad we were talking about women, when I was a kid, like I said, elementary school, and I was telling him about this girl's name, and I was like, man, I said, man, that girl is ugly, man. Woo. And he was like, hello, okay, sorry about that. Yeah, he was like, man, look, he was
yeah. I
like,
got you. I'm here.
don't say it about that girl. He said, because when they get older, they don't look the same. Women, people go through transformation. He said, just like you're gonna change, you're gonna grow a beard and a mustache, and you're probably gonna bulk up a little bit. He was like, things happen with other people too. So he was like, for you to say that, man, he said you might not feel that same way later on, and it's like that, People change. Some people change for the better, and some people not so much.
Mm,
So
yeah, damn. So let me tell you something, brother. If anything, brother, you're a very
uh,
polite person, very gentleman-like. I aspire to be like you one day. At this
hey,
point,
hey, bro. Some
I'm
people you
just
got to
not
be
that.
like that, bro.
I'm
That's
very
that's that's
controversial
you.
and I'm
I ain't
very
mad at that. I
confrontational.
ain't mad at that, man. Hey,
Yeah, yeah. I aspire to be like that one
positive
day.
word.
Before we get out of here,
Um,
these are people with a positive
well,
word.
my positive word, I guess, would have to kind of refer to what's going on with this Corona situation around the city. Everybody's moving how they're moving. I know it's tough to be inside and
Right.
have to be under lock and key like that, but just make sure y'all out here being safe and caring for y'all loved ones. And like I said, I understand it's difficult, man, but just do things the right way so we can get this off of us, so we can get back to doing what we're doing in the city. Because we missing out on festivals and everything getting pushed back because we're not doing things the right way. So y'all make sure that y'all be safe and protect
Yeah,
yourselves out here, but make sure you do it right so we can get back to business down here.
yeah. Speaking of which, do you have anything coming up? In, any
Um,
businesses, anything,
nah, no,
anything to
no,
promote
no businesses that I can think of off
while
the
we're
top
here?
of my head, man. Probably next time I have a chance to kind of lay out and
Okay.
represent some people. I
Yes, sir.
appreciate that,
Yeah, we're
man.
going. I'm gonna
Pleasure
invite
was
you back,
mine, man.
brother. I
Thank you
think you
for
do a
having
great
me.
job. By the way, I'm gonna invite you back. Um, yeah, and I want everybody to go to Amazon
Yes, yes,
Kindle, and if you got a Kindle, go purchase my book. I just
yes,
wrote it about
yes,
my dad. If y'all want to know why I am the way I am, why I am confrontational, read that book. You'll get a glimpse of why I tick the way I tick. Also, next Friday on Amazon Prime, we got New Orleans
yeah,
politics. I was gonna have it in movie theaters, but this Corona messed
yes,
everything
yes.
up. So we're streaming on Amazon Prime. I want you guys to watch it and enjoy it. I promise you, you're gonna learn something. You're gonna get something out of it. And this is me, your host, reminding you guys
All right.
to get the game or the game going.